Alright, so let's take a look at arrays. So how do you define an array? So we're going to make an integer called myArray, and you give it a spot, which is 10. So what it is from 0 to 9, we're going to be accessing, we're going to have an array of memory slots. So let me bring up a visual example of this. Okay, so we just created an array called myArray, and it currently has 10 slots. So in this example, I only blocked out 5. Now in myArray, each one of those slots has a identifying number with it. So slot 1 is actually identified as 0. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So now let's say that we want to put in the number 5, because this is an integer array, into slot 0. How do we do that? Well, what we do in our code is I just type in the name of my array, because we've already identified it, and I say slot 0 equals, oops, let's go down, equals 5. And if I want to print this out, what I can do is I can just console output the my array, which is at slot 0 here. Let me go and end line here for clarity. So now when I run this, you can see that when we're outputting my array, whatever is located in slot 0, which is 5, we get 5. So let's take a look at another type of array, which is a two-dimensional array. So the way you define that is I'm just going to copy my array here, and I'm going to type in 2dim array, two-dimensional array. And with this, you get 2 slots. Now, we're going to actually do a fair amount of coding in Unreal later. So let's go ahead and so you're going to see these in action. So say we have a two-dimensional array that has 10 slots. So just to make it a little bit easier, let's go with 4 slots. And this is called two-dimensional array. So let me go ahead and draw that out for you so you can kind of see what that looks like. Okay, so let me go ahead and delete this so we can just focus on the two-dimensional array. Alright, so let's take a look at our setup here. So we designed a two-dimensional array here. So I'm going to go ahead and start to label these out. So this box here is slot 0, 0, all the way up to 4. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so it's 0 to 4. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if I want to put a 5 at slot 0, 0, all I have to do is copy my two-dimensional array here, paste it here, and then I just identify slot 0, 0, and I say at slot 0, 0, that equals 5. So let's go ahead and output this here. We go to Control F5 so we can take a look at that. Actually, let me go ahead for clarity and just end that line. You can see here that we get 5. So say we want to do something a little more complicated. So let's say we want it at slot 0 and 4. We want that to be a 5, we'll make this 0, 4. Well, where is this in relation to our graph? Well, what you do is we're going to go down 0, and then we're going to go over 4 slots. So that would actually go here. Same thing, if we want to do another one, and we're like, okay, we want to place our two-dimensional array at 1, 3, we want to give that a 7. And that's why it's good to work these out on paper. We would go down 1, we'd go over 3. So 0, that would count as 1, 2, 3. So it's actually kind of screwed that up. So it's actually starting off at 0. And if we're going over 4, right? So we go down 1, and it would be like we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would actually be our box. So it's good to see these sort of mistakes happen. And then you'd output it the same way. So again, it's good to work it out on paper first, and then that way you remember that, so that the one offset doesn't get hurt, like you don't get hurt by that offset.